and welcome. I am Ellie Richardson and you are watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at the top headlines of this hour. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is set to meet US President Trump in Washington to discuss ongoing Iran negotiations following recent indirect nuclear talks in Muscat. Iran describes Oman-mediated indirect talks with the United States as a positive step forward to nuclear negotiations, while emphasising that it's a non-negotiable that talks will remain not on its missile programme. Trump signs an order warning of the new US tariffs on countries that will continue to trade with Iran, citing a possible 25% rate. The move comes as US-Iran talks continue in Oman, with Trump restating opposition to Iran nuclear weapons. Pakistan's Interior Minister announced the arrest of 4 suspects linked to the deadly suicide bombing at a mosque in Islamabad that killed 32 people. Meanwhile, China condemned the attack, pledging support for Pakistan's efforts to maintain national security and stability. Millions of Japanese voters cast ballots in snap election called by Prime Minister Sumitomo Takahashi, with polls suggesting her Liberal Democrat Party coalition could win a large majority despite criticism over economic impact of proposed tax cuts and subsidies. Thailand votes in a national election featuring a 3-way contest among major political blocs, with coalition talks likely to follow. Hong Kong pro-democracy media tycoon Jimmy Lai will be sentenced on Monday, following his convictions under national security and sedition laws in landmark case. Investigators examine a newly surfaced message in the search for the missing mother of US journalist Savannah Guthrie. Authorities say the message is being checked for authenticity as the search enters a 6th day. And for your top story this hour, US President Donald Trump is set to host the inaugural meeting of his Board of Peace in Washington on February the 19th. The board, formed to address the reconstruction of Gaza, will include the world leaders who accepted Trump's invitation and members of an executive committee overseeing Gaza's governance and security. The meeting aims to raise funds for Gaza's rebuilding, with Trump seeking robust participation. The meeting comes a day before Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's scheduled meeting with Trump, despite Israel not yet joining the board. We are now being joined by Major General A.K. Sawachi, who's joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us here today. What more can you tell us about more people joining this board and what they all want to do in the months coming forward now?
See, as far as the Board of Peace is concerned, remember that in the sideline of Davos, the Board of Peace meeting first took place, and as there are certain countries which signed as a member of Board of Peace. Now the first inaugural meeting is going to take place in Washington on 19th February. Now the problem which is coming is that not too many countries have volunteered to become a Board of Peace, and especially the European countries, none of them except Hungary. There are countries which have shown initiative are basically the countries which are there in Middle East, because the problem which is coming is that a Board of Peace, which was basically meant for reconstruction activity in Gaza, is now what Donald Trump has made it. It has a larger ramification, that it will be an alternative to United Nations, and it will able to dictate terms to the world over. So it is undermining the authority of United Nations and the Security Council. And what will happen is that as far as Board of Peace is concerned, Apex, the chairman will be the Donald Trump. So it means he will be the only one who will be having a veto power, and rest of them will follow what will be dictated by Donald Trump. Now, so there is a lot of doubt which is coming, and that's why not many countries have joined. There are only few. And the another restriction which is imposed is if you want to become a permanent member, then you have to donate $1 billion. So that's a very huge amount. But having said so, now let's see how things fan out. This can play a crucial role in reconstruction activity in Gaza because it has got a mandate for that. Because what Donald Trump is trying to convey, this meeting will focus on Gaza, that how we will now unfold and what will be the roadmap of reconstruction. He wants the donation to come so that the countries can donate, and there is a corpus money which is formed. He being on the apex, and there is an executive committee in which Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, is there. His son-in-law is also there, Jared Kushner, and also the ex-Prime Minister of UK is there, Tony Blair. So this is the executive committee, and there are members of Board of Peace, which will be the country which have signed it in January this year only. So let's see how things fan out. But to me, it looks like that there is a danger where a number of countries are saying that this is nothing else but Donald Trump trying to show to the world that he is a supreme commander and everything will happen the way he wants. And as far as international community is feeling that this will undermine the authority of United Nations. That's a very important thing. India has not signed it. India does not want to be part of it. It is wait and watch policy because India feels that in case India become part of it, then there is a chances of that the US will try to intervene, or Donald Trump can intervene in the Kashmir issue, which India has been time and again telling that as far as J&K is concerned, it's a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. And there is no question of mediation by any third party. So India is keeping its card very close to its chest. India has not become a part of Board of Peace. It is wait and watch policy which it is following.
And in this summit that's coming up with their first meeting together, talking about the reconstruction and the start of reconstruction of Gaza, what can we expect to hear after this summit? Are we expecting to hear there's going to be a set plan, there's going to be a timeline? What do you think we're going to hear about it?
Yeah, of course. This will be, what they are trying to convey is that they will make a time plan for reconstruction activity in Gaza. For that to happen, one must remember when this peace treaty was signed between Israel and Hamas and brokered by the US, it has three phases. Phase one was a ceasefire and handover of the hostages which are already done. But the second very important thing is disarming of Hamas. That has not taken place so far. It will be a most tricky situation. Will this board of peace members, will they be required to do that? How it will happen? Because though the ceasefire is there, but still hostility has been, more than 400 Palestinians have killed after October last year, and about 4 Israeli soldiers have been killed. So the first important point is demilitarization and disarming of Hamas. That is the current point. Thereafter, obviously, the reconstruction activity has to take place, which will be monitored by the executive committee, and the board of peace members will be also contributing it. A lot of donation has to come all over the world so that this reconstruction activity can start. I suppose this is possible, but what is important is the hurdle which is coming is the demilitarization and also disarming of Hamas. How it will be done, whether it will be successful or not, is Hamas ready to sort of disarm itself? This is a big question mark, and this is where the problem will strike. But as far as reconstruction activity concerned, there will be a roadmap made. Let's see how things fan out.
And how are the key US allies responding to this board of peace? Are they fully on board, skeptical, or just staying away?
majority of them are staying away. They are skeptical, especially the European countries. They are feeling it. This Board of Peace will undermine the authority of United Nations, and they feel that it will be single-handedly handled by Donald Trump. He will be the chairman. He will be the dictating the term, and this is not only restricted to reconstruction of Gaza, but it has got international ramifications. It will oversee other, conflicts which are going in the world. So therefore, not too many countries have confidence and faith, and majority European countries have not signed. And the countries which have signed are basically the one which are in Middle East and certain other countries like Indonesia and all, and Pakistan obviously has grabbed that opportunity. But how things will now roll out, let's see it. To me, it looks like it's a Herculean task even for reconstruction of Gaza, because until unless you do not disarm Hamas and demilitarize the area, the next step is very difficult to follow.
And what challenges or controversies do you think might arise from how the Board of Peace is formed and how it's now going to move on with the people that are joining?
What happened is there can be three, issues which are there in this controversy. One is the majority of European countries which are considered very close to US and they're part and member of NATO and the countries of European Union, they have not come forward and joined it. They are skeptical about the aim of this Board of Peace. The second thing is that not too many countries have signed. India is not signed. China and Russia were also invited. They have not taken initiative to sign it. There are only few countries which have signed. They are not those countries which will make an impact. So therefore, the one point is it does not have an international acceptance, because majority of countries are feeling it, that it will undermine the authority of a United Nations, which is a multilateral and multinational organization, whereas this Board of Peace is being now built on a framework where Donald Trump will call the shot and everyone has to follow it.
Thank you. Don't go too far, as we will be coming back to you very shortly. Pakistan's Minister of Interior, Mohsin Naqvi, has announced the arrest of 4 individuals linked to a deadly suicide bombing at a mosque in Islamabad on February the 6th. The attack at the Qujatul Kubra Imambaga Muslim mosque left 32 people dead and more than 170 injured. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the bombing, marking the deadliest attack in Islamabad in over a decade. Authorities conducted operations in Peshawar and Nowshera, leading to the arrests, though one counter-terrorism officer lost his life during the operation. Security has been heightened across Islamabad. Listen in to what the Pakistan's Minister of Interior, Mohsin Naqvi, had to say.
धमाके के फौरी बाद पेशावर और नौशहरा में रेड्स की गई और उसमें से 4 फैसिलिटेटर्स जो थे वो पकड़े गए और जो सबसे अच्छी बात हुई वो ये कि जो इनका मास्टरमाइंड था, जो दैश का अफगानिस्तान का अगवानी है, वो भी पकड़ा गया। इसमें हमारी केपीके पुलिस का एक ASI शहीद हुआ रेड के दौरान कल रात को और हमारे कुछ लोग ज़ख्मी भी हुए, लेकिन जो मेन मास्टरमाइंड था वो दैश से उसका ताल्लुक़ है और वो अब हमारी हिरासत में है।
Meanwhile, China has strongly condemned Friday's deadly attack on the mosque in Islamabad, expressing deep shock. In a statement, the Chinese Foreign Ministry pledged full support to Pakistan's efforts to maintain national security and stability. I'm now being joined back by Major General A.K. Swat. Thank you so much for joining us back here. What do these arrests say about Pakistan's fight back against terrorism?
You know, Pakistan is a hub center of terrorism. There is no denying fact. Pakistan can't blame anyone else for the terrorism which is been now flourishing in Pakistan itself. Remember when Hillary Clinton came in 2013 as the Secretary of State in Pakistan, it warned Pakistan that if you have snakes in your courtyard and you think if they bite only your neighbors, one day they will bite you. So exactly same thing happening. Now, this TTP is not come from the heaven. These have been created in Pakistan madrasas itself. But unfortunately, Pakistan follow this principle of a good and bad terrorists. The terrorists which are being used to help out Pakistan national aim, Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaise Mohammed, which is sent toward India, they call it a good terrorist. So is the Jaisal other Sunni militant group in Iran. But the one which hit them hard, they call them a bad terrorist like Taliban Pakistan. And the one which is now involved is the ISIS. This is an offshoot of TTP only. They are affiliate of TTP. Actual printout is of the TTP itself. Now, this incident which has taken place where the Shia mosque has been targeted, where more than about 40 people have been killed and a number of people have been injured. Now, three, four things stand out. Remember that Pakistan has a very poor track record of keeping its minority. If you see the minority track record, the Hindus, Sikh, and Christian and Parsis who came to Pakistan, became a citizen of Pakistan, they were 22 to 23%. Today, they are only left at about 1%. So, where have they gone? Either they have been killed or they have been converted or they have fled Pakistan. And same with the Shia community. Shia is about 15 to 20% of the total population of Pakistan. But they are considered as a second class citizen and they are not given the top position. And same way is Ahmadiyas. Ahmadiyas were in the forefront of having an Islamic country and they came from India to Pakistan. But today they are considered as non-Muslim. They cannot even enter the mosque of the other Muslim, especially of the Sunni. So the question today is, whatever is happening in Pakistan, it's the Pakistan doing. And this Islamic State which has now owned up is nothing new. Everyone knows that Pakistan is becoming a sanctuary even for Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. And this Islamic State is an affiliate of Taliban Pakistan. Now where they are trying to convey, they managed to catch about 4 culprits. This may be possible, it's total eyewash. I certainly feel Pakistan is now facing the problem with created by themselves. And Pakistan is in a situation where there is a political instability, economic crisis, terrorism increasing manifold, and Pakistan can lead toward a civil war. And in case if the civil war take place, Pakistan can break into 4. That is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Sindh and Punjab. That seemingly looks to be until unless Pakistan managed to now control these terrorist groups which are all over the Pakistan, and Pakistan security forces as on today does not seem in a capability to handle this new monster called terrorism.
And how should Pakistan balance security actions with respecting the law and civil rights?
You know, as far as Pakistan is concerned, it has a series of problems. What's happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, TTP is becoming strong. They are having a problem with Afghanistan on Duran line. Taliban government does not recognize Duran line, and the Pashtun on the both sides want to join Afghanistan. So they are not having too good relations with Afghanistan, and they are on a war type situation. There are certain TTP group possibly maybe working from Afghanistan. There are ISIS modules also which seemingly looks to be having footprints in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well as also in Afghanistan. So there is no denying the fact Pakistan is having problem. TTP is strong in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Balochistan Liberation Army is fighting a freedom struggle. Balochistan never wanted to join Pakistan. So all this thing, if you see the churning effect which is there in Pakistan, Pakistan as on today is a hub center of terrorism where not only TTP but it is also ISIS. and Al Qaeda, which is becoming stronger day by day. And this is the cause of concern even for US. US has a very dual look as far as the terrorism is concerned. They are only interested in the terrorists which can have an international reach, something like Islamic State and Al Qaeda. For them, Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaise Mohammed does not make a difference because they have a regional reach only. So the point today is Pakistan has completely failed in curbing the terrorism in Pakistan itself. The government has failed. And remember that one thing is very clear, whether it is TTP, whether it is BLA, whether it is ISIS and also Daesh and Al Qaeda, they all are becoming stronger day by day. And it is a saying in Pakistan that if you see the 100 international terrorists, 87 are terrorists are those which have either belong to Pakistan or their linkage from Pakistan. So the point is Pakistan is in a denial mode. It keeps on blaming other countries for what is happening in Pakistan unless they internally do not look into it, they do not take action against all terrorists, and they do not differentiate between good and bad terrorists. Till then, they cannot win this war against terrorism.
Thank you so much for joining us here today on NewsX World. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. US Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is rejecting claims that she delayed the release of a whistleblower complaint to Congress. Gabbard responded to allegations from the lawmakers that she failed to provide necessary security guidance for the dissemination of the top secret complaint. The whistleblower who filed the complaint last May accused Gabbard's office of blocking the routine distribution of classified intelligence for political reasons. Gabbard, appointed by President Donald Trump, disputed these claims, stating that she took immediate action when informed of the need to provide security guidance. She also clarified that the 21-day deadline to send the complaint to Congress only applies when the complaint is deemed urgent and credible. We have Colonel Sanjit Sorohi for joining us here today from New Delhi. So we're just currently waiting for the guest. Oh, and he is now joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us here today on NewsX World. Who ultimately decides when a whistleblower complaint is credible enough to reach Congress, and should that power rest with one office?
Well, good morning. Thank you very much for having me on your news channel. Now, this is a very serious matter. And when the complaint was lodged, it was supposed to be handled within 21 days, and Tulsi Gabbard was supposed to give the security guidance to the Congress, which she has failed to do. So now we have to see whether it was a deliberate effort on her part, or there was some mistake somewhere, or there was some communication gap to that. But let me tell you that this is happening now. This mudslinging will keep on going on because of the midterm elections which are coming, and these complaints, a lot of complaints will come in, and especially the Democrats will keep on raising these issues with the Republicans and with the Donald Trump administration. LA.
And does this case reveal gaps or ambiguities in whistleblower protection laws for intelligence officials?
Well, if like they are saying that it is a political interference and have been hindering in dissemination, because this complaint was lodged last year in the month of May, and they are supposed to take action within 21 days. But now what Tulsi Gabbard is saying, that she was not aware that this complaint has already been sent to the Congress. In that case, they have to dispose this case within 21 days, and the security guidance is given to the Congress to how to handle, because this case was a top secret. Now, the other thing which is coming up is that this complaint was against a gentleman who is very close to Donald Trump. So we have to see now, when this investigation goes on, whether this was a deliberate attempt to to hinder the dissemination because of the political interference or other things, but it is quite a serious matter and this has to be looked into. Ellie.
Thank you so much for joining us today on NewsX World. Indigenous leaders and community members gathered in Minneapolis on Saturday for a memorial ceremony called Wokiksuye in Remembrance and Witness to honour those who have died during federal immigration enforcement operations. The event took place in Powderhorn Park, where family, friends and supporters paid tribute to Renee and Alex Pretti, both of whom were killed in separate incidents involving federal agents as part of an Operation Metro Surge. A letter from Renee Good's wife, Becca Good, was read aloud, urging attendees to remember not just Renee's name, but also other lives lost. The ceremony also featured community singing and a poem by Minneapolis poet laureate Junada, as attendees reflected on the impact of the enforcement operations and called for recognition and healing. 4 Indian medical students were injured in a brutal knife attack on a dormitory in UFA, Russia. The Indian embassy in Moscow confirmed the incident and assured that officials from the Indian consulate in Kazan, around 400 kilometers away, are on their way to offer assistance. The attack occurred at the State Medical University dormitory, where a teenager armed with a knife targeted several students. Local reports indicate that at least 6 individuals, including 2 police officers, were injured. The attacker resisted arrest, injuring 2 officers before turning the knife on himself. South Korean cryptocurrency exchange Bithumb has said that it had accidentally given away more than $40 billion worth of bitcoins to customers as promotional rewards, triggering a sharp sell-off on the exchange. Bithumb apologized for the mistake and said it had recovered 99.7% of the 620,000 bitcoins, worth about $44 billion at current prices. It had restricted trading and withdrawals for the 695 affected customers within 35 minutes of the erroneous distribution. The exchange had planned to distribute small cash rewards of 2,000 Korean won or more to each user as part of a promotional event, but winners received at least 2,000 bitcoins each instead. Following the incident, South Korea's financial regulators, including the Financial Services Commission, said the incident has exposed the vulnerabilities and risks of virtual assets. That's all we have time for this hour. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.